In this video we're going to look at plotting linear graphs. Now you can start off with a very simple linear equation such as y equals 2x plus 1. In your exam they may give you a table to start off with. They may even be really nice and give you some values to get you started. We're going to do the whole thing from scratch to give you a complete example of how to do this one. So if I need to draw a table of values, then I simply set up x and y like this. And I pick some values for x, so 0, 1, 2, 3 in this case. This will give me a nice range of values that are going to fit on my graph. And I can choose any of these particular values to start with, so I can either choose to start with x is 0, 1, 2 or 3. My suggestion would be to start with one of the easier ones, when x is 1 perhaps, or 2. I'm going to start here when x is 1. So in this equation, when x becomes 1, instead of 2 times x plus 1, it becomes 2 times 1 plus 1, which is 3. When x is 2, instead of 2 times x plus 1, this becomes 2 times 2 plus 1, which is 5. And I can fill out the rest of the table doing the same method. Be careful with your 0 ones. When x is 0, 2 times 0 plus 1 becomes 1. This table of values provides coordinates that we're going to plot on our graph. So this first one, 0 and 1, correspond to the coordinate 0, 1, just there. And I'm going to write that coordinate on so we remember. A nice trick is to tick these things off as you've entered them. So I'm now going to put in the coordinate 1, 3, which lives here. The coordinate 2, 5, which lives here. And the coordinate 3, 7, right up at the top of our graph there. Once I've got these values in, I use my ruler and I join them up with a straight line, creating my linear graph. Okay, in this second example, we're going to do exactly the same thing. We're going to set up our table of values for x and y. I'm going to have values of x ranging from 0 to 3, and I'm going to substitute these values into this equation to produce a corresponding value of y. For this particular equation, I'm going to start right at the beginning when x equals 0. So, when x equals 0, 7 take away 3 lots of nothing equals 7. When x is 1, 7 take away 3 lots of 1 is 4. When x is 2, 7 take away 3 lots of 2 is 1. And when x is 3, 7 take away 3 lots of 3 is negative 2. Again, these are going to correspond to coordinates that I can plot on my graph. So this set of values, 0, 7, I can plot at the point 0, 7. 1, 4 would be my next one, and I'm going to plot that one at the coordinate 1, 4. 2, 1 is my next coordinate to be plotted, and my last one, 3, negative 2, sits down here at the bottom of my graph. And just like the previous example, once I've got these 4 points, I'm going to use my ruler, join them up with a straight line, and that's the question answered. Okay, in this example, notice how the equation looks different to the ones we've encountered before. Here, both the x and the y are on the left-hand side of the equation. This doesn't matter too much to us. We still start with our table of values, with x's ranging from 0 all the way up to 3. Once I've got this, I go back to my equation. Now what the equation says is that whatever x is, when you add it with y, you get the total of 4. So if x is 0, there's only one number I can add to that to create a sum of 4, and that's 4. When x is 1, I add 3 to it to make a total of 4. When x is 2, y must be 2, and when x is 3, I'm going to add 1 to it to make the total 4. Again, just like before, these pairs of numbers will generate my coordinates. So this is where I plot the point 0, 4. This is where I plot the point 1, 3. This is where I'm going to put the point 2, 2. And lastly, 3, 1. And again, just as before, we use our ruler, we join them up with a straight line, completing our question. Here are some examples for you to try yourself. Pause the video here and then hit play when you're ready for some answers. Okay, let's have a look at this very first one. So your table of values should contain these numbers, which correspond to the following coordinates. I'm going to put my first one there, and then 1, 6, 2, 4, and 3, 2. And then, as before, join them up with a straight line, just like this. Question number 2, your table of values should look like this, with the following points: 0, -1, 1, 2, 2, 5, and 3, 8, with your straight line graph looking like that. And the very final one, your table of values should look like this, with coordinates 0, 5, 1, 4, 2, 3, and 3, 2, and the line joining them up going through like so. Well done if you got all 3 of these correct.